Under the waves where the sunlight fades, a hidden world, a treasure brigade, metal mountains waiting in the blue. Machines are humming, they bite and chew. A dance with the deep, it's a risky clue. What secrets lie in the ocean shade? Pressure's rising, hear it sing. Below the surface, a glimmering reef. Treasure below. Oh, the oceans glow, digging where the shadows grow. Gold and silver, the currents flow. Treasure below, treasure below. Rocks like coins in Poseidon's chest, churning dirt from the ocean's crest. Dreams of riches, but what's the cost? A whisper says some things are lost. Coral kingdoms, ghostly frost, a reminder the current test. Treasure below. Oh, the ocean glow, digging where the shadows grow. Gold and silver, the currents flow. Treasure below, treasure below. Treasure below. Oh, the oceans glow, digging where the shadows grow. Gold and silver, the currents flow. Treasure below, treasure below.
Let the good times roll tonight. Feel the spirit rising bright. Nothing's better than this scene. In our hearts live the dream. So raise a glass and toast tonight. With friends like these, it all feels right. From dusk till dawn, we'll take our chance in the heartland's sweet romance. Underneath the neon glow, friends, we come alive. Laughter echoes through the night. As we dance, feel the vibe. Let the good times roll tonight. Feel the heartland's glowing light. Every corner has a story. With every song we sing, a moment lost in glory. From every laugh and every cheer, to the moments we hold dear. The jukebox plays our favorite tune as we sway beneath the moon. Let the good times roll tonight. Underneath the stars so bright, in this heartland where we stood so far. Let the good times roll tonight. Feel the heartland's pure delight. From the laughter to the songs we share, in this moment love is everywhere.
AP News. I'm Ed Donahue. Ukraine's president is optimistic about talks to end the war with Russia. The AP's Sagar Magani has the story.
As work continues on revising a Trump administration peace proposal that was seen as tilted in Russia's favor, Volodymyr Zelensky says the plan now looks better. He was in Paris, where French President Emmanuel Macron says this could be a turning point. At the White House,
we do feel quite good.
Spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt notes Trump envoy Steve Witkoff will meet tomorrow with Vladimir Putin in Moscow. The U.S.-Russia part of it worries European Union Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas.
The pressure will be put on the victim.
And says forcing Ukraine to give up land to its invader would send a bad signal.
That whoever has the power gets to take what they want.
Sagar Magani, Washington.
On Air Force One, President Trump didn't know a lot about his MRI exam.
What part of your body was the MRI looking at?
I have no idea. It was just an MRI. What part of the body? It wasn't the brain because I took a cognitive test and I aced it. I got a perfect mark.
Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt gave details.
President Trump's cardiovascular imaging was perfectly normal. No evidence of arterial narrowing impairing blood flow or abnormalities in the heart or major vessels. The heart chambers are normal in size, the vessel walls appear smooth and healthy, and there are no signs of inflammation or clotting. Overall, his cardiovascular system shows excellent health.
The president's doctor says advanced imaging is standard for an executive physical in President Trump's age group. Luigi Mangione appeared in court in New York seeking to bar evidence from his state trial over the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. The son of Mexican drug kingpin El Chapo pleaded guilty to drug trafficking charges in Chicago. More information at apnews.com. This is AP News. Authorities in Hong Kong say some of the netting on buildings that caught fire did not meet fire resistance codes.
The blaze, which took 2 days to be extinguished, has claimed at least 151 lives and left thousands homeless. Hong Kong resident Lian Shuzheng told the AP the fire is a wake-up call to all residents that live in high-rise buildings especially. Authorities are investigating possible fire code violations at the buildings, which were under renovation. The fire started on the lower-level plastic nylon netting covering bamboo scaffolding around one building. It then spreads to nearby buildings through the flammable foam panels on the building windows until 7 of 8 buildings in the complex were ablaze. Hong Kong's anti-corruption agency has arrested 14 people, while authorities have acted swiftly to stifle criticism, warning against disruptions. I'm Karen Shamas.
I'm Ed Donahue, AP News.
If you see something, say something, and stay anonymous. Call Crime Stoppers at 234-7272 or submit a tip online at nmicrimestoppers.com. No names, no caller ID, no recordings, just your info. And if your tip leads to an arrest, you could earn up to $1,000 in cash. Your tips have helped take hundreds of criminals off the streets in the NMI. It works because of you. Crime Stoppers, we want your information, not your name. PHI is your local pharmacy serving customers in Cagman, Garapan, and Dandan since 1996. Shop PHI Pharmacy for all your prescriptions, and we even offer a large line of multivitamin supplements. Our Dandan location is open weekdays from 8 to 6 and 8 to 4 on weekends. Or visit our Garapan and Cagman locations weekdays from 8 to 6 and 8 to 1 on Saturdays. Check us out online at phipharmacy.com or follow us on Facebook. PHI is a locally owned independent community Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
As the day unfolds with laughter and cheer, Brad's got the magic that brings us all near. Sharing tales of hope, dreams that shine bright. Good morning, Marianas, together we ignite. So join the palm trees, we dance through the days. Rhythm and soul, so
is 7:38 in the morning, and I got to look at the right camera now. You can see that we are doing all kinds of little adjustments to make sure it looks cool. And today's show is brought to you in Nerdovision. That's right, we went with the glasses this morning because I got to try to look smart around our next guest, because when she comes in, she's going to be dropping all kinds of knowledge. You've heard all about this deep sea mining stuff in our community lately, and we want to make sure that you get to hear more about it and hear what's coming on. There's some events that are happening today. There's something that's happening tomorrow. There's stuff going all around. Now, you just got caught up with all the latest news from the Associated Press. We have a whole lot of other stuff on tap to talk about all these sports. I've got the sports updates. I got to talk about all these other things. But we have such a great guest in studio with us today, and I want to make sure that we can get her as much time as possible from Northern Marianas College. Kelsey, I'm so glad to have you in here. The guests are going to be a lot happier once they hear you start talking about everything that's happening with this deep sea mining. So welcome to the show. Welcome to the studio.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So I'd like to clarify that I'm not a deep sea mining expert. I am But
you could be. If you set your mind to it, you can do anything.
We can all do anything if we set our mind to it. So I'm a shallow reef coral ecologist by training, and now I'm over at the Marianas College as a natural resource management program coordinator.
And just to be clear, she's not shallow. It's for shallow reefs, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
But, you know, hey, vanity does persist. So I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the deep sea mining RFI that the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management put out, and then the subsequent community events that are going to be going on both today, tomorrow, and throughout the remainder of the comment period. So as you know, I saw that you had Sheila Babauta on about 4 days ago to also talk about deep sea mining. So this isn't a new to you topic, but as you know, the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management put out a request for information. And this request for information has a 30-day period. What you'll notice when you look at the BOEM RFI, they show you a map. And this map has a area in it, and I think Brad's pulling it up for us.
Do you want me to do the register or your graphics here?
The graphics,
yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Perfect, thank you. So this RFI has a map. So in this map, you'll see the black dotted lines. That is the U.S. exclusive economic zone. The CNMI has an exclusive economic zone of about 3 nautical miles off the archipelago. So after that 3 nautical miles, our jurisdictional territory ends, and then we have the federal exclusive economic zone. You'll notice in the red we have the Mariana Trench Marine National Monument, and then that blue polygon right over there off to the right is the area that is requested for more information for potential deep sea mining leases. And when we talk about deep sea mining, we're talking about the mining of polymetallic nodules, you've probably heard the word nodule a lot, and ferromanganese crust, or these really cobalt-rich crusts. And so what we know, which is very little comparatively in the world of science, what we know about the cobalt-rich crusts and the nodules is that they do exist on older seafloors and sea mounts. We can only understand that the request for information came from a series of executive orders earlier in January that was called like Unleashing America's Critical Minerals. There's about 3 or 4 executive orders that came out to make the Bureau of Energy Management try to go out and solicit and find additional rare minerals. We're not the only country doing this. We're also looking at Japan, Singapore, India. They're all also trying to mine their own rare minerals. So these cobalt crusts and these nodules contain the rare minerals. And what we're looking at in this RFI is a request for information, a request for public comment. We also have scientists from the continental United States putting together comments. But relatively little is known about this area where BOEM is requesting information. So if we go further down in the document.
I'm going to make it a little bit fancier. What I'm going to do, I'm just turning it into a PDF so I can navigate it a little bit easier. There we go.
Absolutely.
And that's easy for me to say too.
Perfect.
All right,
so if we go further down in the document, we'll talk about mining Here are the mineral deposit types. So we've got the polymetallic nodules. I love that the author describes them as potato-shaped. We have the polymetallic, so sulfides or seafloor massive sulfide. Now, these are sulfur chimneys, essentially, and they occur in areas where there's venting or volcanic activity. To our knowledge, these are not in the area of the RFI. But again, that's to our knowledge. Very little is known. The third mineral of interest is the ferromanganese crust. So that one's down below. And that generally occurs on the top of seamounts.
Is that what they use for Ferrero Rocher?
Yeah, yes.
That's it?
It's what makes it crunchy.
Yeah, okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, so all of these are important minerals to the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management. But then there's also a fourth type of mineral deposit, and that is in the mud. And it is not listed on this particular sheet, but we can look to what Japan is doing. They are doing a lot of deep sea mud mining and then extracting the minerals from that mud. We can only expect that because Japan and the US is also involved in this, they're looking at the mud and the rare mineral extraction. We can only expect that this request for information and potential mining companies would be interested in mud mining as well.
Wow, I mean, it seems amazing that that this is even a thing, because it came up, it seems like it came up pretty quick, but we've been pretty good about getting the word out about it and getting interest in about it.
Well, Brad, you're right. It did come up very quickly. So unlike other BOEM initiatives, there was very little community engagement. The governor's offices weren't even notified or made aware. The congresswoman wasn't notified or made aware until 48 hours prior to the release of the request for information. So that's why we're coming together as a community. All of the work that Friends of the Marianas Trench is doing, Tano Tasis and Toto, they are actually putting together a series of webinars with deep sea science experts, actual experts. And then the college is putting together the community conversation tomorrow, Wednesday, at American Memorial Park, 4:30 to 7. Please show up. So we have community efforts trying to pull together, but very little was done ahead of time on the federal government's end to make us aware of these issues or of this request for information.
And so how did we find out about it? Do people that we know and love just kind of hang out looking at the Federal Register? I wonder what's coming up today.
Yeah, you know, I think that it's a few things. So people we know and love do check out the Federal Register. We also have wonderful advocates like folks from Friends of the Marianas Trench and also from the Congressional Office and from the Governor's Office. They keep an eye out on these press releases. So BOEM did put out a press release about 48 hours before the RFI was issued. So we do have folks in the community that are looking out for us, and then it really, you know, it's like that WhatsApp chain of forwarded messages. Once the word was out that the RFI was posted, then folks started to look at it. When I looked at it this morning, we had about 104 comments. And so the intention is to inform the community about the potential impacts and implications of deep sea mining. I'll let them know, you know, how very little is known about this area. And then also encourage folks to comment on the RFI. And you know, I think a lot of times when we have folks coming in telling us to do one thing or another, the economic context of our islands is not really considered. And so I think it would be really remiss if we didn't note that we are in a very tough economic time right now in terms of tourism is declining. And so folks are looking at this RFI and they're like, hey, maybe there is an economic benefit to this. But I just want to go back to that map and show that the RFI, the request for information, demonstrates a polygon that is outside of our jurisdictional waters. And so if it's outside of our jurisdictional waters, NMI, the Northern Marianas Islands, has very little ability to be able to monitor and regulate the activity of these mining companies. As we saw in American Samoa, which just went through this RFI process, it was the goodwill of the lessee to provide a cost sharing or a revenue sharing opportunity. And the company, the lessee, the proposed lessee, decided that 1% of the revenue was enough. And so when we look at the potential cost sharing benefits to the environmental, the potential environmental damages, it's really unclear that it would be worth it. The other component is folks are like, well, maybe we could, have the mineral mining or refining happen here in the Marianas.
Oh, that would smell great.
That would smell so great. Can you imagine, deep sea mud up on our island? So the other component of that is we just simply don't have the technology or the infrastructure. I know that there is going to be a mineral refinery. I think it's somewhere in the Midwest. It's currently under production, but also countries like Japan, India, have these refineries, and it is really hard to imagine that the mining companies would not just send the minerals and the muds and the polymetallic nodules to areas that they could then be refined at, not here in the Marianas. The other component is we don't have the port capacity right now to provide berthing for the support vessels. So it is highly unlikely through either the refinery process, through ports, or through regulation that we would be able to see any of the revenue generated from whatever is unearthed. And the other component are the ecological considerations. So if you scroll a little bit further down on that document.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Rolling. Oh, they look delicious.
So, right? These are the potato-shaped polymetallic nodules. And so you can see the little red box. That is the Voigt seamount. And we did observe on a Ocean Exploration Trust Nautilus cruise, we did see polymetallic nodules. And so part of that area is within the RFI. If you scroll down a little bit further, we've got the ferromanganese crust and the polymetallic nodules. And then if you scroll down a little bit further, there we go. This is the image I was looking for. So the mining process, this is occurring throughout the water column. So depending on what the miner's intention is, whether it is the nodules on the abyssal plains, which is the very bottom of the seafloor, so that's occurring at around 3,000 meters.
Wow.
Yeah, wow is right. Then we have the ferromanganese crust, which occurs on the top of the seamount. And so what that would look like is actually scraping the crust off of the seamount. And so all of these remote vessels then have an umbilical cord to the support vessel. So there's 2 points of impact. And this is, again, from my understanding and what has been communicated to me from the experts. So we have the actual plume from the collector occurring. We have the removal of the hard substrate. But then what else happens is once the minerals go up onto the support vessels, we then have what's called dewatering. So they're removing the water from the minerals, from the sediment, and they're putting that plume back into the midwater column. And that midwater column is what we as fishermen and people who love to eat fish care about. So these seamounts are the basis of the food system for a lot of our migrating pelagic species. It's anticipated that these sediment plumes will have pretty significant impacts on the pelagic species. And we'll hear more about that today from Dr. Jeff Drazen out of the University of Hawaii. He's going to do a webinar at 2 p.m. today, Tomorrow Standard Time. So I think I sent you that link too.
You did?
Yeah, and so we have, these impacts on both the individual organisms, but also at an ecosystem level. The other component of this is the larvae of these organisms actually migrate vertically through the water column, and they provide food for all of the different fish that we love to eat. So not only are we looking at the removal of their actual habitat, we are looking at the potential impacts of the larvae on the pelagic and benthopelagic species.
Wow, I mean, there's so much to think about this. Now, I remember back in the days, like, I was here when everyone was wearing orange shirts that had the Friends of the Marianas Trench on it. My friend Angela was a big part of that, and Ike Cabrera and everybody. And I remember it being a real big deal because of the conservation, but that was more fish. And a lot of the folks who were against it were people who wanted to do commercial fishing. and people who are interested in the potential for mining one day, saying that we would lose the ability to capitalize. And I remember hearing it like, those are our minerals, we should be capitalized. And I heard that over and over and over again. So, but this does not look like those two ideas match. I can't imagine the mining folks would be great pals with commercial fishermen anyway. Not that they fish in this area, but you know, the dewatering plume doesn't go all the way back down to where it was. I mean, so you basically, fish breathe in the water are going to be having all these particulates in the water, and I can't imagine it's just like a little speck here and there.
Yeah, it's not a little speck here and there, and you're so right. And so as we know, the surface currents generally move east to west. And we also know that the closest area of the potential lease block is only 128 miles from the Northern Marianas, from Saipan specifically.
That's in the blue one that you were talking about?
That's in the blue
I'm going
one.
to scroll up real fast.
Yeah.
Ooh, watch that. Okay. So this is only 120. Now, you said this area is outside of
Saipan jurisdictional waters. So every territory and state has a 3 nautical mile boundary. That is our jurisdiction. This is outside our jurisdiction, our CNMI exclusive economic zone. This is into the federal exclusive economic zone. And so we have much brighter and bigger legal minds looking at what's called OXLA, the Outer Continental Shelf Leasing Agreement. And that discusses the different minerals or critical resources like oil and natural gas on the Outer Continental Shelf. From my understanding, OXLA shows that this is federal jurisdiction. And so these minerals, unfortunately, while they are in what us as residents of the Marianas consider our waters, it is by legal definition the federal land, federal submerged lands. So one of the issues that we have there, and again, I think I would love to have a legal expert in here, one of the considerations though is when we talk about the plumes, those will migrate and those will come in, depending on the currents, potentially could come into our waters. They will also impact our fisheries. So I think that that is where we can have a conversation, because we, even though it's not occurring necessarily on Marianas jurisdictional 3 nautical miles, we will be seeing potential impacts on our fish species.
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking about. Like, because this is not just like one of those vehicles. While I don't have all the specifics about like what would actually be happening, like how many vehicles, how many boats, and all that other stuff, how many ships. I think that the prospect of having those plumes make their way closer to where we're at, all of a sudden our beautiful beaches, you know, start picking up some of that stuff. Maybe there's a storm out there. I mean, the ships will move away from the storm, but those plumes don't just magically go away.
Yeah.
So, you know, that stuff starts coming in this way, and there you go. And you're introducing stuff, again, stuff that was at the bottom of the ocean, 10,000 feet-ish, now circulating with everything else.
Yeah, exactly. And I think another consideration, too, is this technology for ferromanganese crusts and nodules has only ever been prototyped. We actually haven't seen successful mining in this region of ferromanganese crust or polymetallic nodules demonstrated yet. Most of the mining companies have prototyped their machinery, but at this point, I am not sure if it's to scale or not.
Well, you know, it's a tough thing. There's always a couple sides of the issue, right? I mean, some people, there's always two sides of the pancake, as one of my former bosses told me one day. And the other side is the potential financial uptake. But like you were saying, that deal that was negotiated with the folks, or not even negotiated, outlined with one of those companies that's interested in that leasing, is like 1% that would go back to American Samoa. I mean, even if it was 10%, like it would be, some of the environmental impacts would be, you know, pretty, it'd be pretty tough. How can you balance those out? But it's a lot easier when, you know, all your schools are paid for and all that stuff. So I don't know where it's at. From the people I've spoken with, they said that a lot of this RFI, there isn't really a plan yet. It was just more of an idea. It's that first, what do you think? Is anyone interested? We don't even know what's out there. What do you think?
Yeah, so the RFI is just that. It is a request for information, but it is the first step in a regulatory process where you put a request out for information. And so we have community members that are commenting, whether they're pro-mining or against mining. And then we also have large labs that are in the continental US and Canada and really globally working on comments to show that this is a very data scarce region. We don't actually know how much of these resources are here and if it would be worth the potential environmental implication. Now, what I will say, going back to the American Samoa process, is it is just the goodwill of the leasee. So that leasee, of the goodwill of their heart, said we'll give them 1%, right? So it's not even within the lease conditions that BOEM may set forth if they continue to proceed down this regulatory path. So it's the request for information, and then it is the looking at the different lease block areas. And then from there, there will be environmental analysis, and then leasing out the different lease blocks to prospective companies.
I mean, the idea, we know that we could trust them, but the idea of it being something that could be a benefit to the Commonwealth is attractive. The only thing is it doesn't seem that there's enough that we know about to actually make that work yet. And that it would, and we also can't say for sure that it would be something that would keep us clean too. I mean, it basically looks like open pit mining to me, but under the sea.
Yeah, well, you're not entirely wrong. And it's the mining processes, again, the ferromanganese crust, they're scraping the top off. The nodules, they're picking up the actual nodules or vacuuming up. And then for the mud mining, the rare minerals are actually between 7 to 10 meters below the benthos, below the bottom of the seafloor. So then they're digging up between 7 to 10 meters, so around 21 to 30 feet, lifting up all of that benthic substrate, that benthic material, sucking it up into their support vessel, and then processing the rare minerals. So that is quite a bit of disturbance to the benthic community, but we're not just worried about the acute impact. Again, we're worried about the pluming when the re-watering occurs, or dewatering occurs. So, so very little is known about this area. So very little is known about mining processes, except for the different prototypes and strategies that we've seen so far. But we can, human history has proven that when we are extracting our natural resources, we tend to be pretty hard on the environment around us. You can look at the lithium mines in the Amazon. You can look at all of the deforestation that's occurred. There are impacts. It doesn't matter what resource you're extracting or exploiting, there's going to be a cost-benefit analysis that needs to be done, and that's what I'm really imploring, all of us to take a hard look at is the cost of this going to be worth it? And again, all of that is to say that I understand why folks, when they initially look at this, we are in difficult economic times, but I don't think that this is the job market creation that we're looking for. These companies will have their own tradesmen and technical skill sets, and we're not going to have the infrastructure to refine the minerals, at the pace that they want. So the minerals are probably going to go back to the continental U.S. for refinement or to an ally. So,
And not even necessarily an ally, just somebody who's a business partner.
Right.
So with this, what's interesting to me is that I've had a couple of conversations with people who would be on different sides of, whether they would want it or not want it. Mm-hmm. One of the folks who seems pretty pro industry on this says that there is somebody who's already interested in setting up one of those refining places here, and I need to hear more information from him. He's going to try to get me an interview with the head of this company, the idea of mineral refining doesn't seem to me like a clean process. I think of it like those awful cartoons that they make to scare you about big industries and stuff, right? So that's number one. But the economic impact could be a plus, but it doesn't seem like it's a perfect fit for where we're at. This is not Cleveland, right? Sorry, Cleveland. But it's not the same. It's not the same kind of place. The other side is that someone was telling me that there's probably a very small likelihood that that part would happen here, but because they don't need the infrastructure, because they would come in with their own chips and all that other stuff and mine that stuff and then go elsewhere, the likelihood that this could happen is a lot higher because they wouldn't have to establish all this stuff. So it's kind of tough. So if people get riled up, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, the economic impact, if that's supposed to be a good thing, the returns for us would be probably minuscule, especially if they're not going to be doing anything here at all.
Exactly. It's another example of the community bearing the brunt of the environmental cost and not getting enough of the economic return. In my mind, from what I have read, because these mining processes are only prototyped, and because so little is known about the benthos, we really don't know how much damage we could potentially be causing.
No, and how could you monitor, right?
Exactly.
So what made me think about this, we had the folks from the Nautilus come on here, and what a cool adventure that was and everything. And this is where I get like, it gets me, I'm an optimist. I'm a balanced optimist, I will say that. I'm not a first-time pessimist, but I was thinking about this. I'm like, these guys come out here and doing all this research and all this other stuff. I wonder if some of that was just for things like this. If it was also helping to kind of see what's out there, use those kind of tools and stuff to do that exploratory stuff under the guise of just science, when it is science, but like economically driven for stuff like this.
Yeah, so I think that whenever there is exploration occurring, it is the information is made public, and it is not within the organization's purview to say what can or cannot be done with the data that are found. And so I think anytime that nodules do come up on a cruise, not just the Nautilus but other research vessels, I mean, the scientists will write about these discoveries. It's how that information is then used by parties of interest like BOEM, like the independent mining companies. So, exploration is a double-edged sword and has historically, it's just a double-edged sword.
Yeah, I've learned that from Indiana Jones. That has definitely been the thing. All right, so is there any kind of middle ground on any of this stuff? Like just listening to the way you were describing it about that scraping sounds terrible, sucking up all that mud, getting down to the stuff that's underneath sounds like really invasive too. But you also said that those nodules sounds like they can just almost pick them up. Is that something that's less invasive that could still be something if they change the way they do it? And by the way, I know that also sounds awful too, and like people who are real environmentalists, because, well, how could, I know, they take millions of, I know, but like, is that a middle ground for any of this stuff? Would that even make sense?
Yeah, so I'm really glad that you're asking about the middle ground, because ultimately this is a conversation that needs to be held by the community, and it's a decision that needs to be made by the community, because we're the ones who are going to be bearing the brunt of the impact. And so the nodule pickup, yes, you're not scraping the crust off. There are still organisms that rely on the nodules, because it's the only hard substrate on the benthos in those abyssal plains. Otherwise, it's really soft, silty, deep mud. And so these nodules do provide hard benthic substrate for organisms to attach to feed, to live on, and it creates habitat. So it is destructive to those organisms, but if you're looking at the destruction or the cost to those organisms versus the potential, economic gain from harvesting the nodules, I don't know. I'm not an expert in that. However, I will say that, again, you still have that dewatering plume. You still have an impact to the fisheries that could be occurring if they use the technology that they're proposing right now. I'll also say that those nodules are kind of a one and done. So it takes millions and millions and millions of years to create these ferromanganese, to create these polymetallic nodules. So it's like a shark tooth has fallen on the bottom of the seafloor, and the seawater and the minerals are accreting, and they are creating this shell around the hard item that has dropped, like a shark tooth, for instance. And so once you've collected that nodule, you've got a 3 million year return on it. Like, you got to come back in 3 million years to be able to reharvest and another of those nodules. It's not a renewable resource by any stretch of the imagination.
What if we just limit the way they extract it? What if we say you can take all the nodules you want, but you got a free dive to get them?
3,000 meters.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I was like, all right, if you can handle that, we've got a deal, and we'll just take 1%.
Yeah, and again, I think that those are conversations that
I know it's ridiculous.
Yeah, you should be had by the community, but it is something that, as a conservationist or as a natural resource manager, I am really conscientious of, because we need to have those balanced perspectives of what is viable for the economy here versus what is the cost of the potential environmental damage. And so again, that's really where I think that we should have those conversations with folks in the community. We should inform people about these processes, and we should, let them know what technology is available. Right now, freediving 3,000 meters isn't available, but maybe one day. So it's just kind of, it's balance.
Well, by the time they figure that out, it'll be 3 million years. They can go back and get some new ones. Add some new nodules. All right,
yeah.
All right. Ridiculous stuff all the way around. But so this is really interesting to me. The idea of the concept of just deep sea mining doesn't bother me at all, but because it's close to us and all that stuff, that's where it is. It's like I am I love deer. I think they're great. I love the idea of coming in contact with them and getting to know them. I also think they're delicious. So for this one, I'm trying to find where that is on this too. The last thing that we want is, I can imagine, last thing anyone would want was that any of our fishing situations, I mean, this is probably way outside where we're fishing anyway, but that plume that could drift over this way to affect our fishing grounds, to affect our beaches, to affect, any of the life, how would that go? Drifting off to our reefs also. I mean, and you see that's on the east side, but it would still come back around the other side. So, and I can't imagine that sediment from about 10,000 feet wafting through the waters and gradually landing on the coral reefs that we have would be a good thing at all, or at least it's an unknown.
Yeah, sedimentation is definitely a concern. One point that I would like to make is, even though it is about 100, the furthest or the nearest area is about 128 miles from us, the ocean, everything is all connected, right? So fish don't know that this is like our territorial water, and they don't leave that barrier, right? So everything, the food web is very interconnected from the bottom of the seafloor all the way up to the top of the photic zone. And so it's realistically what we are concerned about is impacting one component of the food web, of the food chain, and it then having very negative consequences.
Wow.
What's Angelo saying?
Well, he said some stuff. Typically, when I get those things, I usually don't tell people who said it. So now he's out there. You know what? That's what he gets for having long hair. But he was saying that sometimes those cruises that are going on out there, those exploratory things, can't have their funding, based in some of those places, or in some of those kind of companies and all that other stuff. And that's the same folks who are funding his hair products, that are having all that stuff.
I will say, if you go to the Ocean Exploration Trust webpage, they do have BOEM as a sponsor. And so I think all of this, again, it's really important to consider the context. And the context of this is we had 3 executive orders that were pushed out earlier this year in January that are really calling for mineral independence. And so then BOEM, because they are a federal organization, they are trying to adhere to those executive orders. So considering, where this is coming from is an important part of this conversation.
Yeah, it's so far away from the mainland, and it's kind of far away from us, but not really. That's why it's not something that we could even monitor, and I don't think regular folks could even monitor that either. That's where I think the opportunity for things to kind of get out of hand exist, right? You can't just, Coast Guard just can't roll in and say, how things going? Let me hop on and take a look. That kind of stuff's not going to happen.
And again, because these processes are relatively unknown and untested, it's unclear as to who will actually do the enforcement. The Coast Guard will be responsible, presumably, for the support vessels, but what about the tube that is running vertically through the water column? What about the ROVs? Will that be uninspected? Will that be unenforceable? Will that be a Navy issue? And so the question of enforcement, like locally, we don't have that capacity, but what does federal enforcement of this actually look like?
I'm not really aware of all the technology involved in how they tested for all of this. Like being able to know that underneath that mud, that deep is where all those materials are. But what lies beneath that, and how deep do they go for that stuff? Like you said, 7 to 10 feet or 7 to 10 meters?
Meters, yeah.
Okay. So, that's a considerable amount, like 33, 35, 36 feet underneath the mud already to get to that stuff. And then how deep is the material base for all that stuff, right?
Yeah, so that is such a fantastic question, and I've only recently been pointed to what they're doing in Japan. They are doing deep sea mud mining, and they're extracting the rare minerals from that. And so we can look at the case studies in Japan to see, what the actual volume of rare minerals they're extracting from the mud could be.
And is there anything good out of this? Is there a possibility? Right now, the only thing that people are talking about is the economic impact, if there is one. Could that be the upside of this? All the other negatives are the heavy, right? All the stuff that we were talking about, save for American Samoa's 1% maybe, and 1% of who knows what that is. And, the other thing is, you mentioned about who the lessees, the people are going to end up leasing that mining right for all that. Who negotiates that exactly?
So that is through BOEM. So the two companies right now that are out there are Impossible Metals and the Minerals Company. And so these two companies are currently the ones that have been interested in prospecting the Indo-Pacific region and the Western Pacific region. And so in the request for information, these companies could hypothetically even put forth, like a proposal, because this ultimately is for interest in leasing blocks of this area.
Well, I think it's really interesting. Here's one that says Guam's 130 miles away from here, so like 120. So the area is closer than Guam. Pagan's 200 miles away, so it's much closer than Pagan. That's absolutely true, and I know that from traveling there. So it is closer for sure, but you don't have to cross those red lines. Are those floating?
Yeah, the red lines are
You're able to
floating.
see them? Okay,
yeah.
I just want to make sure.
But one thing that is important to note is that the monument, again, those waters aren't static. And so we do have the islands unit where fishing is allowed through permit. And I know that that's a fantastic area to fish with a permit. There's fantastic seamounts there that are just covered in coral for as far as the eye can see. Coblerville full of fields, right, of corals. And so I think what we can consider is the unknown. We can only estimate how much this sedimentation could potentially impact the mid-water ecosystems. And then we also have, again, that webinar by Dr. Jeff Drazen out of University of Hawaii today at 2 p.m. If you could share that link with all your listeners, that'd be great. And then we have the American Memorial Park Community Conversations hosted by Northern Marianas College tomorrow afternoon 4:30 to 7 p.m.
So we've posted it on our socials and on the website, YouTube and everything, and then what we plan on doing is getting on there and just broadcasting the whole thing, so that everybody can see what's going on.
Yeah.
So it should be pretty interesting, and from our side of it, it's going to be really educational for us. We're looking forward to it. Now, let's talk a little bit about something else. It's not much else. It's really close. I just got to find the right screen on there to get it. Hold on, because I put on a fancy little picture for you and everything.
I'd also like to point out real fast that there is a toolkit that Friends of the Marianas Trench has put together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that is a really helpful community resource. That one is by the National Ocean Protection Coalition. So that's the toolkit deep sea mining near the Marianas Trench. But then there's also the Friends of the Marianas Trench one that Angelo and Sheila Babauta have been working on as well.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
I did get that from them before. This is the one that you got me this morning, right?
Yes, and then I think I also maybe WhatsApped you the other one too.
Let me find out. Boom, boom, boom. By the way, WhatsApp is the awesome part of our show here.
Should be that top.
This one here?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, well, let's put you on here first, and then because everyone, while I pull that up, you see what's on the screen. This is tomorrow night.
Yes, that is tomorrow night. So that is a community conversation. We've got a series of panelists to talk about different perspectives of deep sea mining. And then we'll have an open Q&A where the audience can ask the panelists questions, and then we'll have a period where if people prepared comments that they'd like to say, we'll have an open comment period as well.
Ooh,
Yeah, and so that is the Friends of the Marianas Trench Deep Sea Mining Resources, educational resources. And they've done a really fantastic job working on compiling all of those educational resources. They also have templates for comments, and it shares the different upcoming events as well.
Yeah, and here, this is it here, changing it into the old PDF. All right, so, and this is it. This is kind of letting everybody know what's going on. This is where you can get that Zoom link as well. And again, you don't have to get the Zoom link if you don't want. It's going to be here if you just want to sit back and relax and you don't want to clog that stuff up too. This is going to be interesting. So let's go through community conversations. This is the thing that we're going to be doing tomorrow. Ways to participate. Federal Register, where people can submit those comments directly. You can sign a petition that's through the Friends of the Marianas Trench. And this is an actual letter that is also led by Friends of the Marianas for like organizations and businesses and all that. And then you can share a whole bunch of posts.
Yeah.
So pretty interesting stuff. They outline all their concerns and all this other stuff. And I approach it a little bit from like in the middle, like the deer thing, right? So I can't be all in on conservation without thinking of what the balance is on all that stuff. I care about conservation, like I care about clean water, clean air, all that stuff. I mean, for sure. But like at a balancing, like I still like the idea, or not just. I think I got to remember what the wording is. The about conservation is one thing and management's the other one, right? So it's like that balance.
Yeah, and so it's the management of a natural resource for the community, right? And I think that middle of the road approach in terms of this is an important consideration, especially when we're considering these the economic hardships that the CNMI is going through. But again, just with the way the process and the jurisdiction is set up right now, it is very unlikely that the CNMI would realize any of the benefits fiscally from these mining activities. The other consideration is, more information is needed. Just so much is unknown about these areas. And so we really just need more science to understand what the potential impacts of mining could be, what ecosystems are there. So much of the benthic community and these deep sea organisms are actually just undescribed. Almost every time you're going on these, going on a cruise, on a deep sea exploration cruise, you're discovering and finding new organisms. So it's just such a unknown place that it's hard to say what the damage could be.
Yeah, and proving that that benefit is even there. I mean, like, so that's it. So that's interesting to me. Even if we were able to mine those things ourselves here, which we can't, there's no chance, we're not doing that. But even if we ended up having that ability, like the idea of having that kind of a refinery, like on Saipan, sounds awful. I mean, like, I don't know how much money it would take to make that work. Like, if everybody in Saipan gets, Tini and Anaroda, everybody gets $1 million. Oh, maybe. No, it sounds terrible. Yeah. But that still is not a likely outcome of any of this, right? That's not how this would work.
Yeah, and we already have a difficult enough time with remediation from the other, previous military activities from World War II. We're still dealing with unexploded ordnances. There's also contamination in our soils from the storage areas, the fuel storage areas. And then now a new issue is per and polyfluoral alkyl substances.
Well, that just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, it sure does. And so PFAS, as they're kind of like colloquially known, the acronym, love it, an alphabet soup. These come from anything that is flame adverse, and so firefighting agents are a main source of PFAS. And the Marianas, Saipan specifically, is where the joint regional firefighting activities used to occur.
It's all your fault, Ed De La Cruz. Not true.
Not saying that. So,
no, he's our buddy.
We're dealing with these PFAS, and CUC has installed so much equipment, about $4 million worth of filtration systems, kind of like a giant Brita almost. Travis could talk more about this, but essentially we're having to deal with the PFAS contamination in our CUC well water and in our aquifer. So we're already dealing with one environmental contaminant, and then the unknown of what the refineries could look like to me, it is an intimidating prospect.
Right, and that's a man-made issue. It's funny, one of the other issues that we had with the waters over in that area, that same area, nitrates from all the cattle.
Yeah.
So, like, that's like a more of a natural issue, but still, like, there's all kinds of things with this that PFAS is just insane. When you think about it, that we have that giant Brita out there. And by the way, that's not done, because we still have to figure out what we're going to do with that filter stuff after it's all done too, after it's all used up. All right, so we got the webinar today. That's at 2 o'clock. And then tomorrow night at AMP is going to be the big deal also, right? So who are some of the folks that are going to be present for tomorrow night?
So tomorrow I'll be giving a brief overview on deep sea mining and what it actually is, and talking about the minerals that are outlined in the RFI. And then we've got a representative from Department of Lands and Natural Resources, Ms. Kalani Regis. Then we'll also have Cecilio, who will be representing the fisherman contingency and speaking about his own perspectives. And then we will also have CJ Clement Bermudez Jr., who will be speaking on it from an economics perspective. And so we'll have those panelists up there speaking. Those are everybody who's confirmed so far. Again, we've had to put this together like relatively quickly on the fly, because we only have a 30-day comment period. And so we'll have those folks up there speaking. We have Auntie Frances Sablon, who's going to be our moderator, and then we'll have Dr. G giving some opening remarks.
Nice. Yeah. All right. So, and like you mentioned, the 30-day comment window, we have already put in a request to extend it by 120 days. No response on that yet?
Yeah, I checked the Federal Register this morning, and I haven't seen any extension on the deadline.
You're the one who checks.
Yeah.
That's great.
only recently.
Okay. So in lieu of that approval, we only have until December 12th.
That is correct.
So you got 10 days, Marianas, if you think one way or another about this, to submit your comments. You can do it at the Federal Register, which is on there, right there. And you can't miss this big thing that I'm flashing on the screen. I'm talking about the public comment button. So you can check that out. We'll put the, you guys can't see it, so I guess you can't miss it. So this is at the Federal Register page itself. And I'll scroll that back so you can see it. We'll put that link in the comments. And let's see, I'm going to just go into our comments, by the way. You guys who have been watching and everything, thank you so much. But we're going to get into some of your comments real quick as I move this around so it doesn't look like I'm totally cranking my neck on the screen. All right, well, I love Bruce Camacho. He's like, there's got to be some submerged UAPs all down there. I'm like, yep, that's it, that's it. And make sure you wear that tinfoil, buddy. I'm with you. Juan saying, morning, Brad. Legislators need to lock in a percentage of the profit from the mining. That's great. Joyce saying, leave it alone. 2 exclamation points. That was good. Caleb's was talking about some of the, I think that's when we were talking about the other things that were happening, the other chemicals. Is that what's causing all the kidney problems? Just wondering. Then Juan was in there again. He said, AMP presentation, honestly, have very little community involvement. Poor outreach means low numbers and not a good representation of the 40,000 people here. And he says, usually less than 30 people go. Well, you know, I'll tell you what, Juan, that's a good point. And hopefully that's what, you know, having Kelsey come in here to talk about this stuff will help spur, you know, spur more conversations and have people learn more about it. I mean, I could tell you as much as I know about it. We've talked about everything I know about it so far. So we're going to hear from some folks who do know about that, and we're going to have that perspective also today at 2 o'clock. So one of the cool things about this platform is that we can talk about all this stuff and get the word out about all kinds of stuff, reach a lot of people, and hopefully make it kind of interesting too. It's interesting to me, anything that could happen here. Imagine we're in this weird economic situation where, you know, maybe we might be more, I don't know if susceptible is the right word, but we may be more primed for making decisions that are more economic based than environmental based. And if we don't learn more about this stuff, you know, could we be making a big decision? Is the decision even ours to make? You know, and if not, and we're upset about that, you know, we should probably let somebody know about it.
Absolutely. I think you've hit the nail on the head there in terms of more community involvement and empowerment in the decision-making process. This is a tale as old as time. The federal government's like, hey, we're going to come do this. And we're like, whoa, wait, what? And so I think, you know, getting folks involved in the public comment period, Juan's absolutely right. You know, we need as much outreach of this as possible. So thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank you.
And for the opportunity to talk more about this. And so I just really want to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who's tuning in. Please go to the Federal Register. Please tune in to the webinar today at 2 p.m. And also come check out the event at American Memorial Park. We can't wait to see you there.
Yeah, Tobot just had the best idea. It's also, really, it's the worst idea. He said, Brad for governor in 2026. You know, I would be the worst governor of the CNMI. You would not. It would be great. Hey, that's right. We'll do that. No, we won't. I just put the link to the Federal Register's area on the in the comment section over there in Facebook land. I'm going to put it in YouTube right now. 1 second. So if you guys are watching over there, it's available. This live broadcast is only going to stay on Facebook for a month and it goes away, and then but it'll live on in our YouTube channel, you know, in perpetuity. And I guess that's about it. Any other last things?
I'll send you a link to a bunch of different infographics that, if you wouldn't mind putting on your website and on your under the YouTube channel when you post this, that would be fantastic. And so that way we can show people some of the different environmental impacts. And I'll also link there's a pretty good economic report that talks about the economics of deep sea mining. And is it worth it?
That's great. Bruce said Brad will get our comment period extension approved. You got it. I can make that happen. Whoosh. And Caleb said, Brad, are you covering it? So here's what I'm going to do, Caleb. Today, we are going to cover that webinar by having it out there for you. You can watch it. You wouldn't be an active participant other than sending the comments and everything. I think there's going to be so many people there where it's basically going to be us listening, not so much jumping in and all that. Tomorrow, yes, we'll be there tomorrow night to cover it for sure so that people can check all this stuff out. In fact, what we're going to do after this, I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to get you guys the latest news update. We're going to get you the latest sports, and I got to run some commercials. Got to pay some bills. If you guys like that we're able to do this stuff, you got to suffer through the commercials. I mean, enjoy them because they're awesome messages that we have. But want to bring that tomorrow night and have the ability to really see what the setup's going to be and see how we can help get the word out about that too. So.
That sounds great.
All right. Thank you so much for coming in here. It's so great to have you. It's your first time.
Yeah, it is. Thank you so much.
What do you think? Look okay?
It looks great. Yeah, it's very professional.
Ooh, fancy. Put that on your LinkedIn. All right. Kelsey, thanks so much for being here. And don't miss out, you guys. Check out our website where you can find out all this stuff. You can also see it on all our social channels right now. We will be back, but first I'm going to play some commercials for you. Don't go anywhere. We got new... yeah, we got news coming right up.
Hey, bro, can I grab your bush? Yeah, man, go for it. Right on. Thanks, bro. Hey, bro, can I grab your bush too? Sure, bro. Go ahead. Thanks.
Now I can grab my own bush. Saipan, it's time to grab your bush. Pick up a 12-pack of ice-cold Bush, and you're in for more than just a refreshing beer. Every 12-pack gives you a chance to win exclusive Bush gear and more. So don't wait. Swing by your favorite store, grab your Bush, and join the fun. Because here in Saipan, the best moments are even better with Bush. Grab your Bush today.
Shiny smiles all around where happiness is found. It's the little things that make it true. Shiny smiles start with you.
I'm Ben Thomas. Much attention on a deadly September 2nd military strike in the Caribbean. Lawmakers from both parties backed congressional reviews of the action amid reports Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth issued a verbal order to kill all crew members on the alleged drug boat. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says it was a Navy admiral who ordered a second strike on that boat.
Secretary Hegseth authorized Admiral Bradley to conduct these kinetic strikes. Admiral Bradley worked well within his authority and the law, directing the engagement to ensure the boat was destroyed and the threat to the United States of America was eliminated.
Experts say that second fatal strike would have violated peacetime laws and those governing armed conflict. Ukrainian and U.S. officials met yesterday to discuss President Trump's latest proposal for ending the war with Russia. Envoy Steve Witkoff is expected in Moscow this week for more talks. As for red lines, EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas says allowing Russia to seize Ukrainian land would set a terrible precedent.
If this pays off, we will see this elsewhere, all around the world. Then we see that whoever has the power gets to take what they want.
President Trump's former personal lawyer, Alina Habba, has been disqualified from serving as New Jersey's top federal prosecutor. Hai Panjwani has details.
A federal appeals court said the Trump administration maneuvers to keep Habba in the role were contrary to federal laws governing appointments. A panel in Philadelphia sided with a lower court ruling after hearing oral arguments in October. The ruling comes amid the push by Trump's Republican administration to keep Habba as the acting U.S. Attorney for New Jersey. That's a powerful post charged with enforcing federal criminal and civil law. I'm Haya Panjwani.
Stocks started the week yielding some of last week's gains. The Dow dropped more than 427 points, about 0.9%. The S&P lost 0.5%. The Nasdaq 0.4. This is AP News. Pope Leo's first foreign trip found him in Lebanon today. Karen Shamas reports he celebrated the country's tradition of interfaith coexistence as a beacon of hope for the region.
Pope Leo XIV prayed at the tomb of a Lebanese saint revered among Christians and Muslims. The pontiff was greeted by thousands of people who braved the rain along Leo's motorcade route as he travelled to different Lebanese Christian sites on Monday. Leo visited the tomb of the country's national saint, Shab el-Makhlouf, in the town of Anaya, north of Beirut. He then told the gathered crowds in French, "We pray for peace in the world. We pray especially for Lebanon and for the entire Levant. Since the last papal trip in 2012, the country has weathered a failed revolution, economic collapse, the Beirut port explosion, the COVID-19 pandemic, and Israeli airstrikes and invasion in the south." I'm Karen Shamas.
There's more news at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
Fox Sports Update.
Football season just flies by. We're already through week 13. Let's start with the Jags and the Titans.
Lawrence from the gun, protected, throws towards the end zone, wide open. Strange touchdown.
CBS with the call. Jacksonville handles Tennessee 25-3. Don't look now. The Jags are 8-4. Texans are still alive. They hit the road for the Colts.
Shotgun for Stroud. Fake it and then give it to Collins. Looking to turn it upfield. He will for the touchdown.
Once again, CBS on the call. Houston wins in Indy 20-16 as things certainly tightening up in the AFC South. Wild one between the Jets and Falcons in the Meadowlands.
From the right hash, from 56 yards out, his career long is 58. And Falk's kick is good.
That was Fox Sports. New York beats Atlanta on the kick 27-24. Other scores: Panthers pull the upset on the Rams 31-28. Tampa over Arizona 20-17. Dolphins beat the Saints 21-17. 49ers hammered the Browns in Cleveland 26-8. Seattle shuts out Minnesota 26-0. Chargers rip the Raiders 31-14. Bills over the Steelers 26-7.
This is Ainsley Earhart. Thank you for joining me for the 52-episode podcast series, The Life of Jesus.
A listening experience that will provide hope, comfort, and understanding of the greatest story ever told. Listen and follow now at foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
To the college game, the Lane Kiffin saga finally coming to an end. He indeed will coach LSU. The school will pay him around $12 million annually. Meanwhile, Florida has a new head coach. They plucked Tulane's John Summerall. Another big-time coaching position filled. Auburn hires South Florida's Alex Golesh. Another addition, Arkansas set to hire Memphis coach Ryan Silverfield. Same good fortune not with Michigan State's Jonathan Smith. He was let go. He went 1-8 in the Big Ten this season. They owe him $33 million. It's Game On with the Fox Sports app, available wherever you download apps. I'm Jay Berman.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
If you see something, say something, and stay anonymous. Call Crime Stoppers at 234-7272 or submit a tip online at nmicrimestoppers.com. No names, no caller ID, no recordings, just your info. And if your tip leads to an arrest, you could earn up to $1,000 in cash. Your tips have helped take hundreds of criminals off the streets in the NMI. It works because of you. Crime Stoppers, we want your information, not your name. PHI is your local pharmacy serving customers in Cagman, Garapan, and Dandan since 1996. Shop PHI Pharmacy for all your prescriptions, and we even offer a large line of multivitamin supplements. Our Dandan location is open weekdays from 8 to 6 and 8 to 4 on weekends. Or visit our Garapan and Cagman locations weekdays from 8 to 6 and 8 to 1 on Saturdays. Check us out online at phipharmacy.com or follow us on Facebook. PHI is a locally owned independent community Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
Under the waves where the sunlight fades, a hidden world, a treasure brigade. Metal mountains were waiting in the blue. Machines are humming, they bite and chew. A dance with the deep, it's a risky clue. What secrets lie in the ocean's shade? Pressure's rising, hear it sing. Below the surface, a glimmering ring. Treasure below.
All right, good morning, Marianas, so welcome back. It is 8:44 in the morning here on Tuesday morning. That's right, it's 2 for Tuesday, where you get twice the show for the price of one. That's right, it's 2 for Tuesday. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. What a great guest that we just had in here. I want to say thanks so much to Kelsey for coming in from NMC to tell us a lot about, her takes on what's going on with this deep sea mining RFI from the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, and what we could do about it here locally. And so it was really great to hear some great perspectives on it, to learn more about, again, what we can do about it, what there is to know about it, what the likelihood is that we'd actually get something like that. So we'll see how that works, because today at 2 o'clock we'll have that for you. We'll have that webinar, and then tomorrow night we're working on that part. So it's going to be limited seating and everything. I know one of the intentions is to get some of the info, so at least we can get the presentations from the panelists. But we're working on being able to get more for you for tomorrow night. So we're on top of it, and we're working with them directly. So thanks for all of your input on that stuff and all your questions, and what are we going to do about that. So all that stuff is great, Caleb. We're going to work on that. So Louisa, thank you, Marissa. Thank you, floor leader, for answering that question before Bruce was like, hey, when is that thing for AMP? It's tomorrow, 4:30. You don't want to miss it. Also, Luisa saying, our U15 boys come home tomorrow. If you're not doing anything, please help us welcome them home. Yeah, that'd be great. The U15 boys just coming back. They finished the World Baseball Softball Confederation Oceania qualifiers for the World Cup of baseball, and they had a respectable finish. Each team in there played 6 games in like 4 days. It was going to be 3 days, but because there was a rain out, they had to stretch it out a little bit, so they got 1 extra day of rest, and they needed it too because they were working over there for a living. So the NMI team finished 3-3, right in the middle of the pack. We beat Guam 3 times convincingly, and we got beat by Australia 3 times, also convincingly. We did get it was a good opportunity for our boys to see that kind of level of competition, all these tall kids that they're playing against, and, you know, throwing really fast fastballs and some sick curveballs and stuff like that. This is what's going to get them to the next level. Not just being there with their manager, Kyle, next level Hookug, but it was just an opportunity for them to go and travel as a team, to present themselves as ambassadors of sport for the Marianas, and they did that over there in Guam, and just a great trip all the way around. Look forward to seeing those boys and hearing from their coaches and everything. We had Kyle on the show yesterday leading into their last day, and that's where we saw the groundskeepers. They were out there trying to make that field ready for everybody. In fact, how ready were they trying to? They were out there with the leaf blowers trying to dry the field so that it would work for everybody. All right. Hey, I want to show you guys, I got to talk to you guys about traffic. And then I got a video that I want to show you. Another Saki out there that we got. And man, we got to keep these guys. We got to make sure that the temperature is turned up on these bad guys out there. So let's take a look, though, at what traffic's looking like out there for you guys. 8:48 in the morning. As we scroll all the way back, looking at Saipan's major arteries, and everything so far looks in the green. Let's go to the biggest intersection, the intersection that matters, where connections matter, IT&E, over here where the middle road meets the CMG. Just a little bit of backup, just barely past that building, so not too bad at all. The old AK intersection's looking crispy, looking nice. A little bit of traffic as folks make their way in over and around by Marianas High School. You can see the traffic over there by Judiciary. That's people who did the drop-off cycling through because school starts over there at MHS at 9 o'clock. So it's going to be a little bit of a delay over there. So just be patient. Kids trying to get to school. Over there in Chalumpiao looks mighty fine. Tad's a problema. You know what's really surprising is that there is always seems to be a lot of traffic coming down as Perdido on people's way over to Guangdong Hardware. Maybe that's the way everyone comes after they get to Saipan. They want to get down there to Great Harvest and get some great breakfast. That makes sense to me. I totally understand it. That's the Shell Dandan intersection, and it's not bad at all. In fact, even all the way over by the college, it's good. A little traffic coming from the Dandan side, but not too bad. Still, Bula cars, what's going on behind the church? Something's happening over there. It's like a regular Congesta-fest over there. All right, we're just going to take a look around Issa Drive. Usually pretty good around this time, and coming through like a champ right now. Ina's Kitchen, there's no traffic over there yet. That's because they don't do breakfast, I'm telling you. When they do that, that place is going to explode in a good way. I'm telling you, all that good stuff that they make for the specials every day, you end up having that with some rice and some eggs. That's it. You put it together, you got magic. Ina's breakfast, that's what I want. Oh my God, I'm telling you, it's my spirit animal. All right, that's the intersection over there by AMP with the tennis and pickleball courts. Not too bad at all. A little bit of traffic over there by the Sodalore intersection. Not too sad. Sodalore Laundry, I call it, because that's the one that's all beat up since 2015. 10 years strong of being open air laundromat. Some also call it the JG Swan Ice and Water intersection. Yeah, that could be it too. A lot of vehicles over there by the museum too. I'm not sure what's going on. We're going to drive over there after the show and find out what's up. Anyway, Beach Road and Middle Road looking all the way down parallel, and everything looks good. Traffic starting to back up a little bit now at that light over there by IT&E, but other than that, it's pretty good. It's still a place where you'd want to be. You don't have to worry about traffic at all if you hop on with the good folks over at Transit CNMI. That's right. They got the Blue Line is my favorite way to go. where you don't have to worry about anything. You can just let them do all the driving. You just hang out with them and just relax, because they got the pros and they've got great customer service. It's only $2 to get anywhere you need to go on the Blue Line, but it's even better if you are a student, a veteran, active duty military, NAMCO, or you got a disability. It's only $1. That's right. Make sure you pay an exact change, though, because they are not making change for you out there. They can change the world one passenger at a time, but they can't make change when you step on. Good news is they're available Monday through Friday, 6:30 in the morning to 8:30 p.m. Weekends and holidays, though, we let them go to bed a little earlier, 6:30 in the morning to 8 p.m. You want to get some more information? Give them a call at 236-2682, 236-2682. And one of my favorite things about them, they've got great air conditioning, comfortable seats, clean buses, amazing customer service, and free Wi-Fi. That's right, free Wi-Fi. You can't beat it. It is awesome. You gotta love it. You can finish your projects. You can message your friends. You can watch the NMI news service and never miss a beat on Transit CNMI. They've got it made. All right, we're gonna take a look at this video that we ended up getting. I'm telling you, this is someone. I love the mom and pop places. When I first came to Saipan, I was wondering, I'm like, where's my big stores at? Joten. And then at that time, it was Costco. It wasn't even Joten Superstore. But I'm like, where's my big stores at? Where's my big supermarket, like mainland style that I miss? That was only at the beginning. I'm okay now. But I have come to really love the mom and pop shops here because you get to know them. I mean, you still get to know the people over at like your big Jotens and stuff like that. But when you are getting to like at the register is the owner of the store, or someone that's their thing. And I like it even more now running my own business, being able to have that contact with the people who run it. And I know how difficult it is to run a business, and so I like it. The guy who runs Welcome Market up north is just a genuinely nice guy. I've had great experiences with him. Every time I've gone in there, seems like he's somebody who's like great in the community too. I think that they speak Chamorro also. Like I'm like, come on, the Chinese guys, right? But they're super nice. They contribute to the local teams and activities and stuff like that. Folks you want to have in your community are the folks at that market. So I like it. Well, anyway, we saw a video that they posted about someone who walked in and just stole from them. And it kills me that there's people who feel comfortable enough to do stuff like that. And that guy who's walking away apparently stole some beef fingers from them. And again, it's pretty sad. And that's the owner, the older guy who's running out there. He took that guy took 2 bags of beef fingers and just walked in and walked out like he owns the place. That guy is just an honest businessman trying to run a store and be a responsible community member. He's doing nice things out there in his community. He's not just owning his store, but boy, doesn't that get you? Like the idea that there's people who do stuff like that, man, it's tough. Thank God there's nothing for you guys to take. I mean, like having a store is a tough business. I can't imagine doing it. But really, like that guy, if it was somebody who wasn't nice in the community, or maybe someone who's a jerk to locals or something like that, but that's not the case with this guy. This guy's a good guy. And if you've gone in there, you've had that experience. And there's pictures of him with regular kids and customers who come in there, to take selfies and all that stuff. It's a nice place. He made a nice place for the community up north. And that somebody, you can't put everybody in one basket, but that guy is just the guy who took those and just walked out. Come on, what are you doing? Tobot saying there's more videos of that same exact stealer all over the place. Really, man. Well, send them my way, man. Because these guys, I'd really like the DPS can arrest them all the time. But they got to be able to keep them in jail. I mean, yes, you can jail people for stealing. People like that who do those kind of things, you're not going to be getting a whole bunch of money back. I mean, the fines have to be something. They got to be heavy. There has to be a real punishment to people stealing from your place. And it's not about the value of it. You know, it's a petty crime and all that stuff, petty theft. Yeah, I know. And then it becomes more of an issue to go to court. You got to have your lawyer and do all that other stuff. And then even if you go out, that's the criminal side. But the civil side, we should have some legislation to really punish these guys. Sure, you can't lock them in jail forever, right? But the guy's got to have something, right? He's got a car. Take his car, sell it, auction it. That's it. Do it to get those fines. It's not like he's using that car to get a job. I don't know. He's got to have a house, got to have land, he's got to live somewhere. You know, get them. I mean, get them. It is not a good look for us, and I'm not talking about like, I'm talking about like for the Commonwealth in general. When these people are doing these things, you know, it's bad stuff. We end up looking bad about it all over the place, and it just kind of sucks, really. And nobody wants this stuff in your community. And you lock these guys up and make them realize that you get no freedom anymore, and that's it. You're done. We need to have like we only have one corrections facility, and that sounds about right. But if we had one for people who are going to be in there for a longer time, you know, and for doing some of these things too. Part of it too is, you know, rampant drug use. I mean, that's not great. And if we can get these folks off the streets and out of our community, at least until they can get clean, that would be great too. And I'm not talking about the voluntary Hope Center stuff. I'm talking about the involuntary. Yeah, we did take you off the streets because you're either wasted or you're high and you're just, you're not great. Brad, are you advocating? Yes, I am. I'm totally saying that people who are all cracked out should be off our streets until they get decracked. That's 100%. I am totally on that train. And if you vote for me. Yeah, I know. Luis is out there saying, hey, huge shout out to floor leader Representative Marissa Flores for supporting the boys in the comments during the live stream. Yes, that's awesome. I saw her in there. That was so cool. You know, the community support for the boys who are playing ball over there in Guam. It was awesome. And, you know, we have our community of baseball fans out here, and they're doing great stuff. Anyway, there's that bad guy in that driveway there. We'll get out of here. We'll get him off the screen. We gave him enough screen time already. But that's kind of that. What else we got today? We had some local news that we were going to talk about. We go to our website, too. If you haven't checked it lately, you should be checking out the NMI News Service.com. It is my favorite website because it's our website. And it took a lot to get it to where it is, and we're always improving it. And so if you've got some ideas on how to make it better, let us know, too. NMINewsService.com. That is the fruit of our labor, and folks over at Turnkey doing a great job helping us. That's it right there. Ooh, let's scroll down and let you see what it looks like. Whenever we're broadcasting, you're able to watch it live as well. These are some of the top stories that popped up there. And as we scroll through, you can take a look at them. And the archive stuff that we have on here. After this show, that'll be on there. You'll be able to get it, too. Oh, my God, your RFPs, JVAs, all that stuff, obituaries, you name it, they're all there. By the way, those obituaries and funeral announcements, they are free. If you send them to us, we will post them on our website and our social media for free. Costs you no dollars and no cents. $0, 0 cents for your obituaries and funeral announcements, death anniversaries, all that stuff. The only time we charge you anything is if you need us to make it for you. If we have to actually put it together, just because that takes some time and everything, then we got some, we have to fix it up for you. But even that is really inexpensive. We charge $50 for that to put it together. And then you can use it for whatever you want. If you want to get it printed in the paper, you can. But I think they charge like $500 for it. So we're not charging that. Like I said, we would put that graphic together for you for $50. Oh, here's the other thing, too. It doesn't matter how big it is. So if you've got all those different family members that you normally have to pull out the the nerd glasses to be able to read them. Well, you don't have to. We can make it as big of a file as you need it so that everyone's name is on there. Every single detail you want is on there, and it does not matter about this size. You're not going to pay more because it's going to be bigger. That's not how it's going to end up working. So there you go. And again, even if you walk in and it's already done and we don't have to do anything, we'll post it for you for nothing. You're not going to end up paying us a dime if you want us to post your funeral announcement. It's only if we have to make it for you. And even if we do, that's only $50. Oh, by the way, those RFPs, JVAs, and all that stuff, cool thing about that, $25. Oh, geez, you're not even looking at it because I took it off. Here, this is the thing I was talking about, the obituary section. But if you're going to end up doing the JVAs and RFPs, they're $25 for one day, and that's how much it is with the other guys also, but it depends on how big it is. For us, it doesn't matter how big it is either. The other thing is, though, we're only $25 for the first day, and then we'll give you $50 for the whole week, which is a great deal. There's nobody touches that one. It's awesome. And that's about it for this stuff here. What else do we got for you today? Just got this. I want to find out when this is. This is going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow there's going to be a detonation happening up north for all those UXOs. And by the way, our DFEMS, Department of Fire and Emergency Medical Services, they have been finding and relocating all this World War II era UXO, unexploded ordnance, up north. And so now the Navy's going to come over here and blow the crap out of it. They're going to be doing it on tomorrow and on Thursday. And so that means heading up to Marpy, you're not going to be able to head up to Marpy. At the blow pit, it says it'll be 500-foot radius. That means you're not going to be able to get around there at all. That's going to be 11:30 in the morning to 1:30 in the morning. Usually it doesn't take all that time, and then they open it up again. But we're going to post that up there for you too, so you know not to be around there. What I think would be cool though, if the service was better up there for data, then we could live stream it. Either way, we can record it and play it for you, and that'll be kind of neat. We'll do that for you later. All right, what else is shaking in the world today? I think that's just about it. I'm going through all the other things that we had. Bam, bam, bam. I think that was it. Was there any other local news that I wanted to hit? No, I looked in the paper. That's all old stuff too. We showed these guys yesterday, but we'll pull up the website real quick. Hold on, I'm just going to the website again. Pow. All right, so let's get that. We got something from Crime Stoppers yesterday about 3 folks that they're looking for. Now, these are people who didn't appear in court, and we've got them all on here. Oh, no. Did I not include their pictures? How is that possible? No, there's no way. I know I included their photos. Well, we're going to edit that then. I don't see it. All right. Well, the good news is I do have their photos, and I can't believe it's not on there. Are you kidding me? Watch this. I can't believe it. Yeah, that's what you get. That's what you're tuning in for. What are you doing, Brad, you bum? All right, hold on. We're going to make sure that we've got this for you. Here, the gallery. We're uploading the gallery right now. I can't believe it. I feel like one of the sports announcers. You know, I just can't believe. I'm beside myself that I don't have these on here. I always have those bad boys on there. And there we go. I'm going to save it. Look at me, a website guy that I never was before. That's all part of the joys of this little business thing here, right? All right, so let's go to the main site. We're going to try it again. We're going to try to show you what it should look like as it's updating there. Boom. All right, let's go down. All right, let's click on the story again so you guys can see all 3 of them. Yeah, raw footage of Brad Rosala. That's it. There we go. These are the 3 folks that they're looking for. They're looking for Sean Regis, Lila Malari, and Giles Rulikid. Apparently, they all did not go to their scheduled review hearing. My guess is all three of these folks probably saw this yesterday and probably called and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize it." I'm sure that that's what happened. But all three of them, they had review hearings yesterday for different things. 5,000 for the two guys. I guess she's more important because she's got bail set at $10,000. And the other guys must not be as cool. So that's what ended up happening. I don't think that that's the metric that they use to determine whether or not or how much that they're going to charge for bail. All right, guys. But I think that's just going to be about it. All right. So I think that's it for today. We're at 9:07. We got you the updates. We got a couple of sports updates, too. And I think that's what we're going to roll with today. All right, guys. Well, we have a lot of exciting stuff happening. Let's tell you about what we got on tap for today. We mentioned that thing that's going to be happening at 2 o'clock today. We're going to bring that to you. We'll look at all these things. This afternoon we also have that webinar. There's also going to be the mayor's religious leaders meeting happening right next door over at the mayor's office. Tomorrow, we've got interesting stuff. Tomorrow is the Saipan Chamber of Commerce, the general membership meeting at PIC. That should be great. And tomorrow afternoon, this is going to be really fun. Tomorrow afternoon, we're going to bring you our regular show with NM Posse, Advocacy Amplified, but we're going to be on a remote location. Remember before when we were over at CODA? That was a blast. We really enjoyed it. But this time, we're going to be at the Center for Living Independently. So we're going to be up on Capitol Hill. We're going to see some of our favorite folks over there at CLI. I can't wait. I'm really excited about that. On Thursday, though, we are going to have some other special guests in studio. We're going to have Emma and Pete Perez from 500 Sales. We announced that they are going to be moving on and doing some other things, and their 500 Sales is going to change hands, and that's going to be something interesting. They were the visionaries who created 500 Sales, and I love these two, and our community will be less without them. So as they're moving on to Guam. Tomorrow morning, also, we're going to end up heading down to the courthouse for moot court. That's going to be fun. It's basically like a Supreme Court arguments by our high school students who are doing legal teams of 2. We got to see some of the warm-ups and practice yesterday. It was great. Also, tomorrow at 10 o'clock, we're going to have MVA Managing Director Jamaica Tyrone in studio with us, talk about everything that's happening. We got some big events happening this weekend even, the Hell of the Marianas, and we've got this big race in Rhoda, the marathon. We've got that adventure run that's going to be here in Saipan for the Sugar King Trail. Today starts the swim in the Marianas events. There's so much happening, and NBA is going to be in here telling us all about it. And then on Friday, well, I'll tell you what, if you are ever thinking about visiting us in studio during one of the shows, Friday is the day to do it. We're going to have Miss NMI Asia Pacific International, Ann Brownstein, going to be in here with us. And we might have runner-up Miss Sabino. Well, how great would that be if we get them both in studio tomorrow, Friday, 8 o'clock. I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot prettier than just me when you get in here. Then we're going to be out there at Homeland Security later in the day. There's going to be some tsunami class stuff going on with Chip Guard. You remember that name? Also, we're going to be taking a tour of an exciting new business that's opening up here, and you're going to love that. That's going to be in the afternoon. Also in the afternoon, we're going to say goodbye to one of our fallen life members of the VFW, Larry Creekmore, who passed away last month. His interment ceremony is going to be on Friday as well. Friday is going to be busier in the evening, as well as right down the street at the multipurpose building is when the governor's tree lighting ceremony is going to happen at 5:30. We're looking forward to that. It's going to be amazing. And we need some fun stuff happening. Saturday is going to be wild. We have Hell of the Marianas. So if you're up early enough, you're going to see a whole bunch of bikers, not the vroom vroom bikers, the bikers, yeah, that's accurate, all over the island in the morning. It's the Hell of the Marianas. It's a 100-kilometer bike race. Holy crap. They also, thankfully, have a 50K, so I'm going to be in it. So you won't be seeing us covering it live like we did last year when my wife crashed and totally changed it. But we're looking forward to riding in it, and that's going to be fun. After that, though, man, it's a busy day also. There's a team builder workshop that's going to be happening later in the morning for our VFW guys, or our Project Buddy Check 670 guys. There's going to be a big paddling event. It's the year-end event for the Northern Marianas Paddling Federation. And then after that, there's the grand opening for the Wrestling Federation to unfurl their new mats. I know it's already there, but it's going to be a big deal. And that's Saturday. And next thing you know, I get to relax and have a wonderful Sunday morning with my wife and family. That's what's going on for the rest of the week. Should be great. Hey, just saw this comment that came in from Juan Bolas Gonzalez. Great to see you. Thanks for tuning in. And this is a little bit longer of a comment, so let me see if I can't get it all. What ends up happening when I try to read it, it jumps, and I get all kind of cut off over here. So let's see if I can't paste that here in a comment and get that for you. There we go. Let's open that up. And I'm interested in hearing about this. It looks like this is going to be about the deep sea mining. And because I'm telling you, every time I try to read one of these as it's happening, what ends up happening is it ends up skipping around. So it says, this is from John Gonzalez. He says, aside from unequivocal constructive discourse about how much scientific data there is about our rich, deep undersea beds, let us not forget that our inalienable rights to our 200-mile exclusive economic zone from our continental shelves remain unsolved. But why and how, you ask? Because it was never discussed and explicitly mutually agreed upon, perhaps I'm guessing cunningly strategic by the U.S. as a quid pro quo in exchange with our exclusive NMD land ownership per the covenant Section 805. We must remain ever vigilant on the driver's seat and revisit this paramount issue by respectfully and relentlessly seeking the U.S.'s undivided attention to sit down formally and craft a dignified resolution to this long-standing matter that is and will be our environmental and economic salvation forthwith for generations to come. Let us protect our future generations against continued colonization and potential irreparable harm, damage, and destruction to our rich undersea beds, rightfully owned and bequeathed to us from our ancestors. Say no to colonization and yes to finally free and prior informed consent. Hashtag FPI, hashtag dignity for all, hashtag diplomacy, hashtag respect. Oh yeah, I that's good stuff. Appreciate it. The term colonization doesn't really ring for me out here because, really the relationship that we have with the United States was something that people from the CNMI voted on to do it. So I don't feel like it was the CNMI was colonized, at least not by the U.S. I see that like by the Spanish forever ago. But yeah, I hear you. I hear you. But the thing is that I agree with you though that the CNMI's got to be on top of land management and even those submerged lands that we talk about and the exclusive economic zone. I don't know that we'd get anything more than what folks in the United States will get, like for the individual states, like the coastline in New York. Does New York get more than 3 miles off of that? Does New York itself as a state have beyond the 3 miles? I don't think that we're going to get as a Commonwealth anything more than what the folks in the states, the individual states would get. So, but I'm a little bit in the dark on some of that. Probably in the dark about a lot of stuff. Let's just call it what it is. But I think as far as that goes, I don't think that we're going to get any advantage. Same thing over there with the folks in Guam. Same kind of stuff. But I do like the idea of us figuring out what we're going to do. And speaking of that, we were in a Society of Professional Journalists. We had a meeting with well, we have a meeting once a month, and we have a guest speaker every month. John was one of those guys one time. It was great. But the one that we had just this past Friday was with Dr. Underwood from Guam, and he had a lot of stuff on a lot of different topics, and we're going to chop that up and broadcast it. But what I'm really looking forward to is having that one-on-one interview with him as well. One of the things he talked about was about the thought about getting the getting the CNMI and Guam together. He talked about the romantic notion of making that happen. And he said that there's a lot of folks in Guam who are talking about it, but it's not something from the people in the CNMI are talking about. And I told him, I'm like, it's really funny, Doc, because, even being someone who's not originally from here, I've interviewed people who were involved in these conversations back in the day. And they had told me that the CNMI, the folks from the Northern Marianas, initially wanted to join Guam and become a single entity. And the folks from Guam said, no, we don't want it. So that's why I think it's funny that now it's the other way around. The folks in Guam who are having that notion about having some sort of unity, politically speaking anyway. And the folks from the NMI saying no. It's like, because again, the perception is that we would lose control. The locus of control would go from here in the CNMI to over there in Guam, that we would kind of get steamrolled by Guam. I think if you're ever going to get past the only way that the CNMI and Guam become one thing is if people get over the whole thing about like who's in control, and just realize that we would all have to be the same thing. I think maybe just if they're going to remain unicameral, then that makes it a little bit tough. You'd almost have to go to a bicameral legislature where there's a Senate and there is a House of Representatives, so that they would be balanced out with all of the folks who live there, but then we would have some equality on the Senate side. Difficult stuff, crazy topic. We're not going to solve all that today, but one thing we did solve was world peace. We fixed it. Good job, Marianas. We figured everything out today. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to our guests for being here. Kelsey, thanks for being on here, getting us all smart about the deep sea mining. I know that's not even your expertise, but you brought us to another level of intelligence on this. We will be broadcasting that webinar later today, 2 o'clock, so that you guys can hear firsthand from Drazen about deep sea mining. We're going to bring it to you so you'll be able to see it. Hooray. And by the way, I know it's a deep cut. You'd have to be my age-ish to have seen a movie called Who's Harry Crumb, because Elliot Drazen was the bad guy in the movie. It's a different guy. It's not the same guy. But it was great. All right, guys, that's what we got for you today. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back again later this afternoon to bring you that webinar. And then we're working on everything for tomorrow night for that presentation by the panelists with NMC and everyone they brought in. So that's what we got for you, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning as well for another edition of Good Morning Marianas, your favorite morning show, I hope. Don't forget to like, follow, share, and all that other stuff. We could use it. It makes a big deal for us. So please do it. Give us a comment. Give us a thumbs up. Give us another finger. Whichever one you want. Thanks, guys.
La 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 la.
Sports Update.
All right, full slate of Week 13 games on this Sunday. We'll start with the early slate. 49ers, very little trouble with the Browns in Cleveland.
Purdy to the end zone, caught for the touchdown. Grab by Jawan Jennings.
That was CBS on the call as San Fran beats the Browns easily 26-8. Tampa Bay playing host to Arizona.
Otten in motion. Look for Otten, not there. Goes the other direction, and it's Tristan Wirfs.
Fox Sports with that call. Bucks win 20-17. Other scores: Panthers pull the upset on the Rams 31-28. Jags smoke the Titans 25-3. Texans 20, Colts 16. Jets get a last-second kick. It's good. They beat the Falcons 27-24. Dolphins over the Saints 21-17. All right, to the college game now, and it's all about Lane Kiffin. The saga looks...
This is Ainsley Earhart. Thank you for joining me for the 52-episode podcast series, The Life of Jesus.
A listening experience that will provide hope, comfort, and understanding of the greatest story ever told. Listen and follow now at foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Like it's finally coming to an end. He will take the LSU job. It's going to pay him roughly $12 million annually. Meanwhile, Florida has a new head coach. It's John Summerall from Tulane. He will get a deal that's worth $7.5 million per. Another big-time coaching position filled as well. Auburn hires South Florida's Alex Golesh. Also, Arkansas set to hire Memphis coach Ryan Silverfield. Meanwhile, the same good fortune not with Michigan State coach Jonathan Smith. He's been fired. They do owe him, however, $33 million. Quickly from the NBA, Seth Curry has re-signed with Golden State. It's Game On with the Fox Sports app, available wherever you download apps. I'm Jay Berman.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
You owned your car for 4 years. You named it Brad. You loved Brad, and then you totaled him. You two had been through everything together. 2 boyfriends, 3 jobs. You're like, nothing can replace Brad. Then Liberty Mutual calls, and you break into your happy dance.
If you sign up for Better Car Replacement, we'll pay for a car that's a model year newer with 15,000 fewer miles than your old one. See car insurance in a whole new light. Liberty Mutual Insurance.